15.2 Isosceles and equilateral triangles. Content standards. Student will learn to prove theorems about triangles. Language objective. Student will explain to a partner what you can deduce about a triangle if it has two sides with the same length. Example 1. Proving the isosceles triangle theorem and its converse. In the Explorer, you made a conjecture that the base angle of an isosceles triangle are congruent. This conjecture can be proved, so it can be stated as a theorem. Isosceles triangle theorem. If two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the two angles opposite the sides are congruent. So here is the drawing. So we can say that if two sides of a triangle are congruent, so if these two sides are congruent, then the two opposite angles are also congruent. This theorem is sometimes called the base angle theorem and can also be stated as the base angle of an isosceles triangle are congruent. Okay, so here example 1 to prove. Prove the isosceles triangle theorem and its converse. Step 1. Complete the proof of the isosceles triangle theorem. Given segment AB is congruent to segment AC. So we're marked that these two are congruent. We want to prove that angle B is equal to angle C. So we want to prove that these two angles are congruent. So statement 1, segment AB is congruent to segment CA is given, and angle A is congruent to angle A, so we can say that this is reflexive. And segment CA is congruent to BA, so it's symmetric. And for number 4, all right, so we're given that, and given this angle is okay, so in step 4, we say that triangle BAC is congruent to triangle CAB by side angle size. And when we establish that, and we can say that angle B is congruent to angle C by corresponding part of congruent triangles are congruent. Right, step 2, complete the statement of the converse of the isosceles triangle. So we say that if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the two sides opposite those angles are congruent. Right? So here we're saying that if you're given a triangle, if we know that if the two base angles are congruent, then we can say that the two sides are also congruent. Right, so here is the proof for it. So complete the proof of the converse of an isosceles triangle theorem. Excuse me. Given that angle B is congruent to angle C, and we want to prove that the segment AB is congruent to segment AC. So this is what we want to prove. Right, so for number 1 is given angle ABC is congruent to segment RACB, and for number 2 and for reflexive, so we can say that segment BC is congruent to segment CB. And then for number 3, we can say that angle ACB is congruent to angle CBA by symmetric. And then for number 4, we have triangle ABC congruent to triangle ACB is by angle side angle. So once we establish that the two triangles are congruent, then we can say that segment AB is congruent to segment AC by corresponding part of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so try this out. So for number one, we're given that the two sides are congruent. That means that the two opposite angles are congruent. That means the angle D and angle E are congruent. So D would be 50 degrees. And for number two, we're given that two base angles are congruent. That means the two sides are congruent. So that means that the segment from G to I is also 6.3. And for number three, we're given an equilateral triangle. So all three sides are congruent. That means that all three angles are congruent. So each of those angles is 60 degrees each. So angle L is 60 degrees. And for number four is an equal angular triangle. So all four base angles are congruent. I mean that all three sides are congruent. So each of these is 4.5 yards. Okay, so the segment from R to Q is 4.5 yards. And for number five, we're given that the two sides are congruent. That means the two base angles are congruent. So we don't know what the degree is. We can call both for x and x. So we can write an equation 2x plus 50 equal to 180. So then 2x equal to 130 degrees. So then x is 65 degrees. And then for number four, we're given that is an, number six, we're given that is an equal angular triangle. So it's in all three sides, all three angles are congruent. That means that all three sides are congruent. So we can set this up as 40 equal to 5t, so solve for t. So t is 8. Okay, so that's the end of our 15.2 day 1 notes. So your assignment is on 15.1 day 2, assignment number 4 through 7, 15, and 17. And we have our new HRW assignment is on 15.2, and you are to copy down 15.2 day 2 notes.